May I ask you some questions?
Sure, go ahead.
What's your name, please?
My name is Linh.
Or a student?
Yes, I am. I'm a first-year student and I'm studying Academy Finance.
Where do you come from?
I come from Hanoi.
So you come from Hanoi, don't you?
That's it.
What time do you usually get up?
I usually get up at 6 o'clock.
What do you usually do after getting up?
I usually have breakfast after getting up.
How long does it take you to have breakfast?
It takes me about 15 minutes to have breakfast.
So it takes you about 15 minutes to have breakfast.
That's it.
What do you usually do after having breakfast?
I usually do homework from my school after having breakfast.
How long does it take you to do the homework from your school?
It takes me about 3 hours to do the homework from my school.
So it takes you about 3 hours to do the homework from your school?
3 hours.
So it takes you about 3 hours to do the homework from your school?
That's it.
What do you usually do after doing the homework from your school?
I usually surf the internet after doing the homework from my school.
How long does it take you to surf the internet?
It takes me about an hour to surf the internet.
So it takes you about an hour to surf the internet.
That's it.
What do you usually do after surfing the internet?
I usually have lunch after surfing the internet.
What time do you usually have lunch?
I usually have lunch at 11:30.
So you usually have lunch at 11:30.
That's it.
What do you usually do after having lunch?
I usually go to school after having lunch.
What time do you usually go to school?
I usually go to school at 12:15.
So you usually go to school at 12:15.
That's it.
What do you usually do after going to school?
I usually come back home after going to school.
Pardon?
I usually come back home after going to school.
What time do you usually come back home?
I usually come back home at 5:30.
So you usually come back home at 5:30.
That's it.
What do you usually do after coming back home?
I usually take a bath after coming back home.
What time do you usually take a bath?
I usually take a bath at 5:45.
So you usually take a bath at 5:45.
That's it.
What do you usually do after taking a bath?
I usually have dinner after taking a bath.
What time do you usually have dinner?
I usually have dinner at 6:30.
So you usually have dinner at 6:30.
That's it.
What do you usually do after having dinner?
I usually do homework from my English class after having dinner.
What time do you usually do the homework from your English class?
I usually do homework from my English class between 7 and 10.
So you usually do the homework from your English class from between 7 and 10.
No, between 7 and 10.
So you usually do the homework from your English class between 7 and 10.
That's it.
What do you usually do after doing the homework from your English class?
I usually go to bed after doing the homework from my English class.
What time do you usually go to bed?
I usually go to bed at 11 o'clock.
So you usually go to bed at 11 o'clock.
That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How about you? What's your name, please?
My name is Phúc.
Are you a student?
No, I'm not a student. I'm an engineer and I'm working for a company.
Where do you come from?
I come from Hanoi province.
So you come from Hanoi province, don't you?
That's right.
What time do you usually get up?
I usually get up at 6 o'clock.
So you usually get up at 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
What do you usually do? What do you usually do after getting up?
I usually have breakfast after getting up.
Pardon?
I usually have breakfast after getting up.
What time do you usually have breakfast?
I usually have breakfast at 6:30.
So you usually have breakfast at 6:30.
That's right.
What do you usually do after having breakfast?
I usually go to work after having breakfast.
What time do you usually go to work?
I usually go to work at 7 o'clock.
So you usually go to work at 7 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually do after going to work?
I usually have lunch after going to work.
What time do you usually have lunch?
I usually have lunch at 12 o'clock.
So you usually have lunch at 12 o'clock.
Exactly.
What do you usually do after having lunch?
I usually come back home after having lunch.
Pardon?
I usually come back home after having lunch.
What time you usually come back home?
I usually come back home at 6 o'clock.
So you usually come back home at 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
What do you usually do coming back home?
I usually take a bath after coming back home.
What time? How long does it take you to take a bath?
It takes me about 10 minutes to take a bath.
So it takes you about 10 minutes to take a bath.
That's right.
What do you usually do after taking a bath?
I usually have dinner after taking a bath.
How long does it take you to have dinner?
It takes me about 20. It takes me about 20 minutes to have dinner.
So it takes about 20 minutes to have dinner.
That's right.
What do you usually do after having dinner?
I usually practice my English after having dinner.
How long does it take you to practice your English?
It takes me about 3 hours.
3 hours.
It takes me about 3 hours to.
3 hours.
It takes me about 3 hours to practice my English.
So it takes you about 3 hours to do so. So it takes you about 3 hours to do so. So it takes you about 3 hours to practice your English.
That's right.
What do you usually do after practicing your English?
I usually go to bed after practicing my English.
Pardon?
I usually go to bed after practicing my English.
What time do you usually go to bed?
I usually go to bed at 12 o'clock.
So you usually go to bed at 12 o'clock?
That's right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
See you later.
See you later.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.